Shalom, this is the 12th video on Sefer Vayikra, where we examine fascinating machlokasim between Rishonim on Psukim and Vayikra. Today we're going to look at a really amazing machlokas between the Rambam and the Ramban. We had one, if you remember, in the first video on Vayikra on the reason for Karbanos. Today we're going to have another machlokas similar to that between the Rambam and the Ramban as to why we can't eat the blood of animals. Okay, we know that even a kosher animal you can't eat the blood of. So if you look, this is Parak Yud Zayin Pasuk Yud Aleph. The pasuk reads as follows: Ki nefesh habasar b'dam hi v'adina sativ lachem al mizbeach l'chaper nafshosechem ki adam hu b'nefesh yichaper. For the soul of the blush, of the flesh, is in the blood, and I have therefore given it to you to be placed upon the mizbeach. In other words, the blood should be placed upon the mizbeach to atone for your souls, for it is the blood that atones for the souls. Okay, we're going to look at the Ramban in Pasuk Yud Aleph, Divrei Maskal ki nefesh habasar b'dam hu, and we're going to skip all the way. If you look at the in the Torah Chaim version, at least, it's the top of the second paragraph of the Ramban. See, the Ramban has two paragraphs on this page, and the top of the second paragraph, sort of towards the last three words, it says V'harav kasab b'mor nevuchim. Right, the Rav, we remember from last time when the Ramban quotes the Rav, he's quoting the Rambam in the Mor Nevuchim. He says V'harav kasab b'mor nevuchim ki hayu kasdim muasim hadav yachshuv l'hem l'tuma. So if you remember, the Kazdim were a type of Odei Avodah Zarah, and they thought the blood was tamei. They thought it was like they had some spiritual issues with it. But those that wanted to connect to the evil spirits, said these pagans and idolaters, they would drink the blood. And then therefore they could prophesize the future. And the Torah is always, one of the goals of Hashem when He wrote the Torah was to make sure that we did not think like primitive pagans. And we didn't think that you could connect to demons that don't exist in the first place, especially by doing crazy things like drinking blood. So therefore, Kach Asra Adam, Bachila Ubachra Bo L'Tahir Bahazos L'Zarkol Mizbeach L'Kapara. Therefore the Torah says do the exact opposite with the blood. Don't drink it to connect to demons, rather put it on the Mizbeach to connect to Hashem and to act as an atonement for you. Right? Because by putting the blood on the Mizbeach, it shows that you don't think that these ideas have any validity, and therefore you spill it onto the altar. By spilling onto the altar, you're in essence saying, God, I understand that all the power is with you. I don't believe any of these pagan primitive notions that there are demons and that you can connect to them with blood. So that in itself offers atonement because you're showing what you truly believe in. And it says as follows: sorry, because right? And this is the idea, right? We see this in many different areas of the Torah. We specifically do things the exact opposite of the idolaters, just to demonstrate the fact that we understand there's no validity to their actions. Okay, but says the Ramban, who disagrees severely. Now, what the Rambam says does make sense. We don't believe in these things. But at the same time, that's not why we don't eat the blood. He says there's a different reason. He says, Yomar Talmid B'Tama Isser Ki Nefesh Kol Basar Damo B'Nafsho. The Psukim constantly state over and over that the soul of the animal is found in its blood. Ki Nefesh Basar B'Dam Hu, right? Because the blood of an animal is in it, the soul of an animal is in its blood, like it says in our pasuk. Don't eat blood because the blood is where the soul of the animal is found. And you should not eat the soul of the animal with its flesh. Now, you have to ask the question, what in the world is the Ramban talking about? And the Ramban realizes that what he's saying is a little out there and it requires explanation. Right? All the creations in the world, says the Ramban, other than man, were created for man's use. Because only man recognizes his creator. But even though everything was created for our purpose, at the start of creation until the times of Noah, we were not allowed to kill animals to eat them. Rather, we were all vegetarians. We could only eat stuff that grew from the ground. But once Noach came out of the Teva, and he offered an animal as a sacrifice, at that point God said, okay, you can eat animals. Like the pasuk says, I now give you meat to eat, just like you've been eating vegetation until this point. Right? Because animals are there for us. Right? So now man is allowed to benefit physically from animals and eat them. And their souls should act as atonement when they are offered as a korban to God. But the soul should not be eaten. Because, and that, not that the soul should be eaten. The soul should be offered to God in place of your soul, meaning the blood should be offered. But not that you should eat the blood, you are only allowed to eat the flesh. And that's the machlokas between the Rambam and the Ramban as to why you're not allowed to eat blood. Fascinating, of course. The real uniqueness of this and the real chacham of this machlokas is only going to come out with your analysis. I can't wait to read it. Shalom.